What's up? What's up? Thought I would give my opinion on this weekend's draft news with Shedeur and the Sanders family. Shout out to them and their accomplishment. But, I'm hearing a lot of good opinions on what happened. And another angle, I'm not a conspiracy theorist or nothing like that, but something that I didn't hear addressed, man, was the fact that they disrupted what I believe the power structure of how they funnel these athletes into the NFL. You look back a few years ago, it was monumental for a draft prospect, or at that time, D1 top 10, might have been even one if I can recall, and Travis Hunter, the number one recruit in the nation, I believe. And to be able to have that type of influence that Prime has, and take them to a HBCU, man, that really disrupted and had a lot of people thinking about their route, how they would try to go to the NFL. You had a lot of players that were, top 100, considering going to HBCUs. I know some of the HBCUs even got some of those players. So, they showed, man, the impact that they had on the game. Not to mention that a lot of the power structures are being shaken. You don't have to have the traditional schools now. And I think they had even an impact on that, to where you see that they start paying some of these college players. In the NIL, how are they going to hold on to these players now? They don't have to come to our schools. Thanks to social media, it's harder to blackball these individuals. It's harder to create your own narrative. People are waking up realizing that they have power now. They want that control over their name, image, and likeness, because even though the NFL has done a lot of great things for blacks and minorities, and it has done a lot of great things, with the colleges, they've done a lot of great things. We see a lot of players being broke or nothing to show for at the end of the day, which even Jaylen Brown, I believe, from the Celtics was talking about. So even those guys are saying that they don't even need the agents. I heard him talking about, we have an NBA players union, which I believe he's president over. So they don't have to have the traditional means of getting an agent. They don't have to have the traditional means of going to a top 5 school, and they're getting the job done. So ultimately, I believe is y'all touch some people's pockets, man. That's what it was about. That's why they don't want to see him, really help. We know the Cleveland Browns is a graveyard, and I got some friends that's, Browns fans. No disrespect, shout out to the Browns, but ultimately, man, we know that hopefully they're saying that he can pretty much be forgotten about. That's what they're hoping, that we send him to the graveyard, in my opinion, and make sure that he doesn't have no influence, no power. But I think Shedeur is going to be fine. I think once this blows over, they got to get back, with this draft situation. We'll see how it pans out. So that's just my take on it. I think ultimately you hurt the NFL and the college pockets, and, that relationship that they have. Because, remember they locked out the Ohio State running back. His name was Clarence something, I believe, years ago. They locked him out for trying to do just 1 year, be a one and done. College ball is like, nah, we got to make our money off you before we send you up there. You know what I mean? So, when you look at all these different aspects, now the NBA, they more lenient with that. You got high school players that's going straight, from high school to the NBA, and they getting busy. You know what I mean? So now it's like, the NFL and college, they got to reconsider how they do things. So that's just my take. Y'all let me know. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe if you're watching this on the social media platforms. Y'all be blessed. Peace.